Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to the Frontline with Joe and Joe Pasillo and Joe Rossinello. And once more, let us go into the breach. Joe, let me tell you something. You know who the leftist, elitist, smug, I don't want to call people names, people in the world, oligarchs, okay? You know who they hate more than anything? I think more than anything? Strong Africans. I believe that. I think these people are racist. I think they want to try to keep Africans down. And when you hear like a lot of the leaders in Africa, particularly on the woke agenda, Joe, particularly on all of it, the rainbow flags, gay marriage, all of it, these guys don't play games, Joe. They don't play games. So let's listen to the president of Uganda, and then we'll come back.
What is your message to Western human rights groups, to President Obama,
respect,
to lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people?
Respect African societies and their values. If you don't agree, you just keep quiet. Let's manage our society the way we see. If we are wrong, we shall find out by ourselves. Just the way we don't interfere with yours.
Do you personally dislike homosexuals?
Of course, they are disgusting. What sort of people are they? How can you go? I never knew what they were doing. That's how I've been told recently that what they do is terrible, disgusting. But I was ready to ignore that if there was proof that that's how he's born, abnormal. But now the proof is not there.
So, Joe, my first comment is this. Do you hear the smugness on the part of the CNN reporter? Do you hear, what about international human rights organizations? What are you talking about? What are you talking? Look, first of all, okay, they want to say that any laws that protect marriage, protect the family, that are going to be considered anti-homosexual are an abuse of human rights. That's not true. They couch it all in human rights because they want the rainbow people to do whatever they want. This guy is saying absolutely not. Absolutely not. We're not having it. And if you don't like it, well, just leave us alone. Respect us. Just leave us alone. Joe, I need your comments.
Well, a couple things. They'll never respect traditional values. And they strong arm. That's the new colonialism that's going on in the world. The West is importing their values through financial coercion to places like Uganda, places like India, and that's a fact. Now, he's right. Leave him alone. They're not going to. They don't respect your values. He also said, we'll see how it works out.
Right.
I will say this. His way will work out. Yours will not. Write that down, anyone who listens to this. I will say this. I think he could have phrased the last part better because it's going to be used against him. He
of
says,
course. Yeah.
Homosexuals are disgusting. No, there's no human being that's disgusting. Actions are good or bad. And ultimately, as a Christian, as a Jew, and frankly, as a Muslim, homosexuality is viewed active if you are living that lifestyle as a sin. That's not my idea. It's the idea, though, I prescribe to because I'm a Catholic. Any Christian that takes their faith seriously, that's what the church, that's what it teaches. Mm-hmm. And I'll go back to what he said. We'll see how it works out for you. What I'm going to say is this. Societies that have embraced these new ideas of marriage and of families will falter and fail, and they are faltering and failing now.
Do you remember what the pastor that we had on? We played a clip recently, a couple weeks ago. A black pastor in South Africa. You remember what he said? And I thought it was so telling. He says they are trying to ram this stuff down our throats. Okay, they're placing economic conditions and financial aid. Let's say in this case to South Africa on our acceptance of gay marriage, of transgenderism, and all these. He goes, and you know what they're doing across the river in our neighboring nation? The Russians and the Chinese are training them in military tactics and strategy so that they can defend themselves. As to your point, Joe, when you open yourself up to this, and any reasonable person know this. When you open yourself up to all of this trash, and that's what it is, you are weakening your society. If you want your society to crumble, embrace all this stuff. And that's what the Africans are saying. Look, we got to feed our people. We got to build our economies. And you want to talk to us about sodomy? Really? You want to talk to us about men dressing up as women? Really? Is that what we're supposed to be talking about as a civilized nation? Or are we talking about the good of our people? Being able to eat, being able to educate our children, being able to not be killed by different tribes. How's that for priorities? And you want me to worry about two guys that are doing whatever they want, okay, or want to call them their relationship a marriage, or a guy pretending that he's a woman and you want me to call him a woman? Give me a break. And that's what they're saying. And that's what the smug elitists, like this reporter from CNN, can't stand. Joe, final word on that.
What I would say is what you're seeing in the West, you see a lot of fingers pointing to people who say, like, the Europeans that came to Canada came to the U.S. and basically, you know, they say they colonized the natives. Well, that's exactly what the woke globalists are doing to countries like Uganda. They're importing their ideas and they're forcing them down their throat because they basically tie them to aid. You want aid, you have to do this. You
Right.
don't want aid, then you don't get it.
Yep.
So that is the same thing you accused the Europeans of doing. It's the same thing.
And the funny thing is, Joe, it's the Europeans that are doing it now.
That's exactly right. And that's what I'm going to point out. And that's not covered by the press because what they're doing, they're fine with. Because again, it's a different worldview. And frankly, again, I always say this: you tell a tree by the fruit it bears. See how it works out for you. Give it
a generation. And I'm sure the president of Uganda here is going to be absolutely correct. Thanks for joining us here at the Frontline with Joe and Joe. Stick around for more great content.